What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, that's where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy the Scale News Update regularly, hit the like button. Let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, the official release of the Biddy Designs PGT3 R body for the Felony version of the ARRMA 1/7 scale platforms. They previously had this body for the Infraction and Limitless, as they have a symmetrical front and rear wheel and tire package. Felony got a wider, larger rear wheel versus those, so they needed a different body. This is like pretty much the same as the previous version, but with an extra like wide body kit. I'm not sure if the Lexan body underneath itself is the same or not. It doesn't really specifically say if just these added flares are what make up the difference, but either way, you're getting a body set that will work on that bigger, wider stance for the Felony, and it looks fantastic. Like most of the Biddy Designs bodies, huge fan of this, and it does come pre-trimmed, so you aren't gonna have to worry about cutting out one of these great big bodies. Like, they are quite large. Comes in clear. They usually offer a pre-painted version down the road. I assume that we'll see something similar here. If you got one of those 7 scale platforms that you're interested in, it's a pretty good choice. Next, new from Vanquish Products, some titanium hardware sets specifically for the F10 portal, the VRD, and the VFD options in the lineup. Titanium hardware is an excellent choice when you're concerned about weight, but you still need to retain the strength. Aluminum is an even lighter material, but not nearly as strong as titanium. So these kits are made for the VRD chassis, the VFD transmission, as well as like the F10 portal axles. You can also buy the custom kingpin screws that you'll find in like F10 portals or AR44 based axles. These are available separately also, so you can add those to whatever rig that you may have that has those. So in case you're looking for that, you can also find the wheel nuts in M4 and M5 with actual nylock. A lot of titanium hardware is just serrated and doesn't have a nylock to it. This actually does, so worth noting on those fronts. If you're interested in adding these to any of your F10 axles, your VRD chassis, or your VFD transmissions, there'll be a link down in the description below, as well as links to all of today's stories. Next, another new one from Knight Customs. This is a Tamiya Sand Scorcher conversion kit to a Class 5 Baja. This is an amazing looking package overall. This is a collaboration with Ampro Engineering. You may have seen some of Ampro Engineering's Sand Scorcher parts previously. They had a big conversion similar to this, but this new Knight Customs one is, again, a collaboration between both companies as an effort, and you're gonna be able to find all of these parts on Knight Customs. Knight Customs has been doing more of these collaborations as of late, and it is yielding some amazing products. Ampro Engineering does incredible work as well. Super talented engineer. Cool to see them partner up with Knight Customs for this project. And if you've got your own printer, you can download these off of the Knight Customs website, or you can go to any of the Knight Customs authorized resellers who will have the ability to print these for you in case you don't have your own printer at home. An awesome network. You can find authorized resellers on the Knight Customs website where all of that is maintained. Check that out, link down in the description below. New this week from Reefs RC, some new 2.2 tires. These are some 5.25 inch tall Crux tires. Same kind of like generic-y tread pattern that they released in the 1.9s previously, but now just being offered in that 5.25 inch tall 2.2 size. This is very similar to like the size you would see for cut and shut tires, which are when you take a 1.9, you add a section to make it fit a 2.2, but it gives you that nicer narrow profile and a height that's not quite as exaggerated as a lot of the 2.2 options you see. These are becoming more popular as far as that size goes as of the last probably year or so, and now Reef is adapting their latest 1.9 into that as well. You can find these available now on the Reef RC website. Go check it out. And thank you to Zoku RC for sponsoring this month of the Scale News Update. Zoku RC has a number of chassis options for you that are beyond just your typical chassis upgrades, which you see a number of places. These are a more complete package, including the cross braces and body mounts, link sets, everything you need typically to take a truck from the stock form and convert it into the final form that they have imagined. And this week we're talking about the FF chassis, which is a forward bias chassis replacement for the Vanquish VRD platform. This takes and shifts the transmission and everything forward closer to the rear axle, and then you use a longer set of rear links, and you can have a different weight bias for that platform. Now, it does require the use of a stubby kit, which isn't included. One of the rarer times that not everything is included with the package from Zoku. So you will need a VRD with a stubby kit, and then everything else you need, including titanium links, are included with the FF kit. And again, they also have platforms for other brands as well as their own, very specific in case you're just kind of doing a custom type build. Worth checking out. You can go see their website, which is linked down in the description below. And there's also a code down below so you can save a little bit of money on your next order. If you're interested in any of that, again, find the link down in the description below. And thank you again to Zoku for sponsoring this month of the Scale News Update. And while you're looking for that link down in the description, you can also find another link to the channel membership section. Help support the channel a little bit extra. You can see videos early, like Scale News Update, you see the night before. After News Delight, which is an extension of the Scale News Update, which you see at that same time. But we go back into the news topics, go a little bit more in depth, a bunch of fun, a lot of rants, you never know. Also, again, if you're looking to support the channel a little bit extra, that's where to do it. Find that link down in the description below. Thanks to everybody who watches regardless. And as always, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, live stream takeover. Come join Matt and I as we watch Matt guess terribly Facebook Marketplace prices for used RC cars. A great time. Check back this week for another game of some sort because we've been on a roll with that and it's been a lot of fun. But check that out, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, every single Wednesday. And if you work for an RC company and like to see any of your products on the Scale News Update, send me an email to news@harleydesigns.com. Include a description, a photo, and a link to where it is or will be found on your website. Love to take a look at that, see if we can get it here in the Scale News. New this week from FTX, we've got the Grand Apache 1/7 scale. Now, 1/7 scale, pretty large. This similar to, in a lot of ways, to like the UDR and the Mojave, kind of both in that range as far as size goes. This is more similar to the Mojave with an independent suspension, both front and rear. Overall, this truck just appears that it has a nice mix of those scale details, but the performance-minded aspect, including like a light setup front that looks really good with a molded front grille set, the details in the back as far as the spare tires and some of those additional scale items. One thing that I did find interesting is that it does have that rear, desert style, short course style rear bumper protector on it. We see that on a lot of these vehicles, especially ones with independent rear suspension. One thing I found interesting, I don't think I've seen in a vehicle like this one before, is that in that rear skid plate, there's a couple of wheels for like a wheelie bar type action that are just integrated into it, slightly out of sight, but it's there. So something to ride on the rear wheels is maybe this thing's got the power to do it. It is brushless. It is not cheap though. Up in the $700 range or so. So FTX, not a brand that we see a ton of support for here in the US, but not completely absent. So a brand that is usually more viable, more likely to be seen, especially in Europe. So if that checks your boxes and you like the style of it, maybe you're just a FTX brand loyalist in general, then check out their newest release here. 8S capable. Probably has the power to ride on those rear wheelie bars then. And RC 4-Wheel Drive dropped a bunch of new stuff this week. We've got new wheels with the Moto Metal licensing, 2 new sizes and styles. One, 2.2, first one, 2.2 deep dish style, looks pretty good. But the more impressive one, 2.6-inch deep dish ones. Brodozer approved. They showed it on one of their TF2 in one of the photos. That was a choice, but hey, whatever. And then alongside the new Moto Metal wheels, we also had some Goodyear tires that they released. One 2.2, like basically like a monster truck looking tire. And then they also have a new 1.9. This is the Goodyear ATS, I believe. Tons of detail on that new 1.9, definitely a more streetable or stock-ish looking tire. So if you're looking for something that's not as performance oriented, oftentimes RC four-wheel drive is a good place to start. Next, Losi and Proline went crazy with NASCAR releases. The 1/12 scale NASCAR platform is something they released later last year. There was a lot of hiccups with the like product support / supply of that platform for a while, but that's being resolved in a big way. A lot of volume of inventory is starting to roll in, and they've expanded their offerings. 3 new options available as far as like driver livery type style. You've got Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney. So those are the 3 new options that have been made available. And then after that, Proline came in with a bunch of additional options, not necessarily for just the body sets, but also things supporting it. Now, body sets, yes, they did offer some extra ones on the NASCAR side, which are not exactly like just side-by-sides with the previous. They're old school styles. You've got a 1990 Chevy Lumina. You're gonna have to paint that yourself. But then you've got the 1996 Ford Thunderbird and a 1996 Chevy Monte Carlo body set. So some, going with a little bit of old school. Now, since the NASCAR that they released more recently was more of like the next gen style or whatever the car version after that was called, Proline also released new wheels and tires that have the more old school look of the style of wheels and tires that they ran on those vehicles before they went with the larger size and the center lock and all that kind. So, and that's just labeled as the Goodyear Eagle Retro version. But then they had 2 more sets of tires and wheels that they released. One is the wet weather version of the Goodyear Eagle, and they released the dirt version of the Goodyear Eagle for the NASCAR on dirt enthusiasts. It's cool that they had just all of these things. They're just getting it all out there all at once. But the thing that I am most excited about with that whole thing is that Proline released 3 NASCAR truck bodies, which I like that. That's great. These are all 2024 versions. They released the Silverado, the F-150, and the Tundra. I heard that Dodge is coming back and that they might have a new driver for it, but that's technically, would it be Ram, not Dodge? I don't know. Either way, maybe we see a new option rolling out here before too long. Excited to see it. Speaking of excited to see it, did you all get excited to see another episode of STL Sunday? I know a small group of you did, but if you're interested in CAD and you'd like to learn a little bit more, specifically this week we went over the new Gridfinity plugin that you can put into Fusion, so it makes organizing things way more easy. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I put in way too much effort into organizing a toolbox. It's almost a problem, but I'm almost done. So check out that video on STL Sunday in case that fits your bill as well. Next, we've got just kind of a funny one. Tamiya's the mini 4-wheel drive, those little wild, fast slot car-esque racing things that they have. They've got this new one coming out for the Year of the Horse. And it's just hilarious looking. I've seen videos of these things racing. They're cool. It's fun to watch them, all that. I don't really have any interest in them specifically, but I thought that this new model that they have coming out was too funny not to throw in there. And how else would I have known that 2025 is the Year of the Horse? Now, if I didn't know that that was just the Tamiya way, I would have thought that that was a fake product launch. It does not look real. And going right from that into this next topic, I got a text today from a friend saying, hey, is this real? And it was this photo of this Axial new release here. Now, I saw it, immediately saw like just some differences. I said, no, that's an AI generated image. And that's something that we're all hearing, not just images, but videos. We're seeing tons and tons of it, making more and more things harder to really know real or AI. And that's only going to get more difficult. And that's going to be a way of life. It really is. But at the same time, is that going to make a product leak, an early thing? Is it going to make leaks just non-existent? Because like you just won't know, like, oh, I haven't seen it. It's got to be fake. It seems like that topic and that thought is just coming faster and faster and faster. How else could you know? I did a quick experiment. I just opened ChatGPT, typed in a quick sentence, gave it a reference image and hit go. And I just screen recorded it. And in 30-ish seconds, I had an image. Now this is I didn't go into any extra steps to try and refine this or anything like that. I just typed it, hit enter, went good. Popped up, I was like, that looks great. Generate the back of the box for me. And it generated another photo in, again, 30 seconds. This was a minute's worth of effort. And you have something that, if you would have chose something slightly more reasonable, could have looked like an actual product release to some people. I'm not saying everybody. Really keyed in hobbyists will be able to tell the fine differences between fake and real for longer. But will that be forever? I don't know. It's one of those questions that I thought would be interesting for this week. And that is, have you yet been fooled knowingly by an AI image or video? At least for a long enough period, you're like, oh, wow. And then you like finally grasped that it wasn't real, or like you thought it was, and then later on down the road realized it was fake. It's gonna happen to us all before long. Have you done it yet? And if so, do you remember what it was? Be interested to know, or have you fooled anybody else? I'd be interested to hear. Drop your experiences, comments down in the comments. Comments. Always appreciate your guys' comments. My favorite part of the Scale News Update. But with that, that's going to do it for this week's episode of, what is this show called? Scale News Update. 366 episodes of this, and I can barely remember the name. It's been a day. But with that, as always, I appreciate you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell. Consider channel membership, whatever it may be. Much appreciated to all of you who watch. See you back here next week. Thanks again. See you on the next one.